Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. I welcome you to our today's special session about Lord Jagannath and his amazing pastimes. So because day after tomorrow is a special Rath Yatra festival, so hence we would listen today about the all-merciful Lord Jagannath and how he spreads his mercy through his amazing pastimes. So who is Lord Jagannath? Lord Jagannath is none other than Lord Krishna, or one of the special manifestation of Lord Krishna is Lord Jagannath. Now, why is he called Jagannath? So Jagannath, as you can understand, is Jagannath. That means he is the Lord of the universe. Now, why is he Lord of the universe? Now, Lord Krishna himself says that he is in Bhagavad Gita. He mentions again and again that how he is the creator of this universe, he is the sustainer of this universe, he is the maintainer of this universe, and he is the annihilator of the universe. So he says in the famous verse of Bhagavad Gita, Gati Bharta Prabhu Sakshi Nivasa Sharanam Sruhit. So he says that he is the supreme destination Gati, he is the Bharta, that means he is the sustainer. Then he is Prabhu, he is the Lord. He is Sakshi, that means he is the supreme witness. So from this verse we can understand that Lord is omniscient, he knows everything, he is omnipotent, he is a reservoir of all energies, and hence he is Lord Jagannath. And Lord Jagannath is a very special incarnation or a manifestation of Lord Krishna, because Lord Jagannath is very merciful. He is pleased very easily. With the slightest amount of faith, you can achieve the mercy of Lord Jagannath. And because he is so merciful, he easily bestows his favor to any person who shows a slightest amount of faith towards him. And that is why he has time and again interacted with devotees through his countless pastimes. And even today, there are these regular dealings of Lord with his very close devotees. So let's begin. So first, please take darshana of this very special form, or this special Vesha of Lord Jagannath. So why Vesha means he is dressed in a very special way, and this is the Suna Vesha of Lord Jagannath, Baldev and Subhadra Maharani. So Lord Jagannath is on the right, Lord Baldeva is on the left, and Mother Subhadra is in the center. So some people are curious as to why Lord Krishna had this very strange manifestation. Why his eyes are so large, and his arms are withdrawn. So devotees say one of the reasons as to why Lord Krishna manifested in this special form is because, and this is linked to when Lord Krishna was present on the earth about 5,500 years ago, and he was ruling Dwarka. So he was the king of Dwarka, and he has his great empire. He had all his queens and his children and his grandchildren. And although he was living in Dwarka, he used to always remember his days in Vrindavana, his loving dealings with his devotees, how the simple cowherd folk of Vrindavana used to exchange love with Lord Krishna. So he always used to remember those days of Vrindavana, the devotees of Vrindavana. He never forgets his devotees of Vrindavana. So his queens were quite astonished as to, even after they always day and night they are personally serving Lord Krishna, but still Lord Krishna remembers his devotees of Vrindavana. So they wanted to know what is the reason behind this. Hence, the queens approached Mother Rohini, and they approached Mother Rohini because Mother Rohini was also witness to those Vrindavana pastimes of Lord Krishna. So the queens requested Mother Rohini to narrate those pastimes of Vrindavana. So Mother Rohini agreed to that, but on the condition that when she is narrating those pastimes, Lord Krishna and Lord Balarama shouldn't be around, because Lord Krishna and Lord Balarama are so much attached to Vrindavana, they are so much attached to those days in Vrindavana, that if they again hears about those pastimes, they would be not able to control their feelings, they won't be able to control themselves, and they would go into an ecstatic trance. So that's why Mother Rohini requested Mother Subhadra to stand as a guard on the door, and so that if Lord Krishna and Lord Balarama appears or approaches that gateway or that particular room where Mother Rohini would be narrating these pastimes, Mother Subhadra would be able to hint that Lord Krishna had come, and hence Mother Rohini should stop narrating those pastimes. Thus, on this condition, Mother Rohini started to narrate those childhood pastimes of Lord Krishna. How Lord Krishna, from his very childhood, became the apple of the eyes of all the Vrindavan Vasis. How he was always enacting those wonderful pastimes in Vrindavana. How he effortlessly killed those gigantic demons like Putana, like Trinavarta, like all the other demons who had come to Vrindavana. And how the Vrindavan Vasis were always dependent on Lord Krishna. So whether Putana came or whether Indra manifested those gigantic thunders and rainfall, incessant rainfall over Vrindavana, those Vrindavan Vasis were always dependent on Lord Krishna. And how Krishna, although in his childhood form, always used to protect his devotees. And this increased the love of Vrindavan Vasis toward Lord Krishna. And Lord Krishna was also too much attached to the Vrindavan Vasis. And not only to the cowherd folk, he was equally very attached to the creatures, to the cows, to the sheep, to the monkeys of Vrindavan, to all the plants of Vrindavana, to Govardhana, that great mountain form. So he was attached to each and every living being, each and every entity of Vrindavan. So in this way, Mother Rohini was narrating the pastimes of Vrindavan. And Mother Subhadra, although she was asked to guard the door, but hearing these wonderful pastimes, she also became mesmerized, and she didn't notice, Mother Subhadra didn't notice that Lord Balram and Lord Krishna had already came there, and they were also standing on the gate. So on one side Lord Balram was there, on the other side Lord Jagannath was there, and in the center Mother Subhadra was standing. And all of them were so much enchanted by hearing the same pastime which they themselves have enacted, because it reminded themselves of the supreme love which the Vrindavan Vasis had for them, and it also refreshed those loving dealings which Lord Krishna and Lord Balrama had with their cowherd friends, with their father Nand Baba, Mother Yashoda, and all the other people and all the other living beings of Vrindavana. So, hearing these pastimes, they were so much excited that their eyes became large, their eyeballs spread, and their arms gets withdrawn into their bodies, and thus we see this unique form. And we also see in general that when we are excited, our limbs and our eyes they show that excitement. So displaying that supreme excitement they were feeling by hearing those wonderful pastimes of Vrindavan, Lord Balrama, Lord Jagannath, Lord Krishna, and Mother Subhadra, they entered into this trance, and in this form they stood there motionless. Now, when they were displaying this trance, somehow Narad Muni was passing through that place, through that palace, and Narad Muni said that, "Oh my dear Lord, which supreme manifestation are you displaying? I have never seen this incarnation of yours, because this is the first time I am having darshana of this special form of yours. So please, Lord, please show this manifestation to the general masses of this world. Please show this merciful form of yours to the common man, and show and bless them with this merciful glance." So in this way, Narada Muni became the reason for Lord Krishna's, or due to Narad Muni's request, Lord Krishna is going to appear, or he appears in this form of Jagannath, Baldev, and Subhadra Maharani, in this very unique form on this material world. So this is one of the reasons why Lord Krishna took this very special form. Now, moving on to the Rath Yatra. Now, why this Rath Yatra takes place? Now, the Rath Yatra symbolizes that Lord Krishna and Lord Balrama's visit to Vrindavana. So it so happened that after they left Vraja at the tender age of 10 or 11, from that point till about 100 years, they didn't go back to Vraja, and after 100 years they went to Vraja, and because for all these years in their heart they were yearning so much that they want to visit Vrindavanam, but due to one or the other reasons, and because of they have to take care of the devotees who were there in Mathura, and his devotees in Hastinapur. So they had to perform all these duties, and thus they didn't get the opportunity to go back to Vraja for 100 years. So after 100 years, when they went, they had this they had this eagerness to go to Vrindavana, because they were very eager to take darshana of their mother and father, their cowherd friends, and all the living beings of Vrindavan. So this Rath Yatra symbolizes their journey from Dwarka to Vrindavan. And at Puri, this journey takes place from the main temple, which is on the right of this picture, as you can see, and from this temple to Gundicha temple. Now, this is one of the reasons. The other reason is Lord Jagannath, as I said, that he is very merciful. All people generally go to the temple to take darshan of the Lord, but in this case, Lord Jagannath himself comes to the street, to the common place, so that he can give darshana to the people, and so that the people who are not able to go to the temple for one or the other reasons, they can take darshan of the Lord very easily. And that is why Lord Jagannath, Lord Baldev, Mother Subhadra, they come on the street. They come on the street and they take part in this Rath Yatra. So each of these three carts are belonging to Lord Jagannath, Mother Subhadra, and Lord Baladev, and they ride on these carts so that they can give darshana to all the people. There are other glories of Rath Yatra as well. So it is said in Puranas that one who sees Lord in this particular form of Jagannath, and especially if one sees when he's ascended on these carts, in these ratha, then there is no further birth for that soul. So hence it is so this entire manifestation of Lord Jagannath is very merciful, and on the top of it, if one sees Lord Jagannath when he is sitting on the throne, then he is more benefited. So this is another reason why Lord Jagannath comes and takes part in this Rath Yatra. He is taken from the main temple in Puri to the Gundicha temple. The other reason for this Rath Yatra is because King Indradumna, who is a very great devotee of Lord, and he was there on the planet Earth about thousands and thousands of years ago, because his names are mentioned in the Puranas, and his great deeds have been narrated to the Pandavas as well. So we can imagine how far in the future, how far in the past he was there. Now, King Indradyumna was a very great devotee of Lord, and he wanted to see the Lord. He has a very great intensity to see the Lord, and he somehow came to know that Lord Krishna is in the form of a Neel Madhava in the same Utkala, or in those days it used to be called Utkala. So in Utkala he is residing at a particular secluded place in the form of Neel Madhava. So Neel Madhava is also a form of Jagannath, and this Neel Madhava manifested because Lord Jagannath had given a blessing to Brahmaji on Brahmaji's request, that because Brahmaji is responsible for creating this universe, but Brahmaji was so much concerned that I am creating this universe, but how the people or how the creatures in this world would be delivered from this universe. So to bless him, Lord Jagannath had said that 50 years of your life I would stay as Neel Madhava, and 50 years of your life I would stay as Lord Jagannath. So long story short, so King Indradyumna came to know about Neel Madhava, and he was able to request, or he was able to bring, by his intense prayers, by his intense devotion of Neel Madhava, and he was able to request Neel Madhava to appear in the form of Lord Jagannath. There is also a very large, there is a very long story about how that happened, how Lord Jagannath appeared. Now, once Lord Jagannath manifested, King Indradyumna had requested 3 boons. So one of the boons was that he won't have any sons. because he felt the king felt that if he had any son, then the son would claim proprietorship of this temple and this deity. So that is why he didn't want to have any sons. And the king Indradyumna's wife was Gundicha, and Gundicha, hearing that, became very much shocked, because the custom is that if there is no son, then who will do the final rites of the deceased parents? So Gundicha became very much concerned as to who will deliver them if there is no son. So Lord Jagannath had promised her that I would do your final rites. So that is also one of the reasons that Lord Jagannath every year goes to this temple of Gundicha Devi to perform those yearly final rites. So this is one of reason why Lord enacts this pastime of Rath Yatra. Now moving on, and please take this darshan of this majestic view of this Jagannath temple. Now this Jagannath temple, as you can see, is very large, and it had 4 gates. The gate which you are seeing on the front is the Singhadwara, is the main entrance of this Jagannath temple. Now in Jagannath temple there are various rituals, or there are various codes which are followed, which are very unique to Lord Jagannath temple only, and it's very unique in nature because there are rules as well as there are no rules. Okay, so there are, because as and when there is some pastime with a devotee, and to remember that pastime, to remember that devotee, that also becomes a part of the day-to-day or a monthly or a yearly observance. So in this way, it is very unique. Whatever codes are followed in this temple are very unique in nature. So one of them is that in this particular temple, Lord Jagannath is hardly, or the gates of the main temple are closed for hardly 2 or 3 hours, because it is said that because Lord Jagannath is so merciful that he always wants to give darshana to the people, to his devotees, to the common man who want to see him, to make him some or who want to make some offerings. So that's why the temple remains open from around 3 a.m. in the morning to around 12 or 11 a.m. on the next day. So throughout the day he would give darshana to the common people, and it's not that even in those 2 or 3 hours when the main doors of the temple, the Garbhagriha, are closed, it's not that the Lord is resting. It is said that the people, or the people of other planets, of the heavens, they come during those 2 hours or 3 hours to pay obeisances to Lord Jagannath. So throughout the day he is giving mercy to the people. And how it is known that, the demigods come during those 2 or 3 hours when the darshana for the common people is closed? It's because every day, every night, some prasadam is left, some prasadam is kept for those people who are visiting the Lord from the other planets, and every morning that prasadam is nowhere to be found. So in this way he is giving darshana to the common man, he is giving darshana to the heavenly souls. So 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, he is giving darshana, he is giving mercy to the people. So this is one very unique thing about Jagannath temple. The other thing is that Lord Jagannath is one of the other boons which King Indradyumna Maharaj had asked for was that you would always, so oh my Lord Jagannath, maybe it so happens that once you take a meal, and you wash your hand, and before that hand dries, you would be served other meal. So, so that means that Lord Jagannath is offered bhoga many times a day. So in general, most of temples bhoga is offered 2 or 3 times a day. But for Lord Jagannath, bhoga is offered like every 2-3 hours. If on average we see every 2-3 hours a bhoga is offered to Lord Jagannath, and it is not that there is only one offering in the bhoga. Okay, so there would be 12 offerings in one bhoga, then there would be 5 offerings in another bhoga. In one of the major offerings, there are 56 different offerings. So there is rice, there is dal, there is sabzi, there is some sweets, there is some sour preparations, so and so on. So this is the grandiose with which Lord Jagannath is offered bhoga. And also very special thing about the bhoga is that your bhoga, when the bhoga is being taken from the temple to the main from the cooking area, from the kitchen to the temple, no one can get the smell of that bhoga. Okay, but when after the bhoga has been offered to Lord Jagannath and Lord Jagannath has taken that bhoga and it had become prasadam, then and when it is taken out from the prasadam to the common area for distribution, then everyone can get the smell of bhoga, that prasadam, sorry. So this is also a very unique thing about the bhoga which is offered to Lord Jagannath. The other unique thing about Lord Jagannath's bhoga is that there are 6. So when the bhoga is cooked, so the bhoga is cooked in earthen pots, and these pots are kept one on top of the other. So on one particular stack of pots, there are 6 or 7 pots which are put on the top of a flame. And the very peculiar thing is that the bhoga which is on the topmost pot gets cooked first, and then the bhoga which is there on the pot below gets cooked then the next, and so on. So the bhoga which is there on the top gets cooked first, and the bhoga which is closest to the fire gets cooked at the latest instance. So this is also another unique thing about Lord Jagannath's bhoga. So these are some of the unique things. So another thing which I would like to mention is that, as I said, that there are various codes and rituals which are followed in Lord Jagannath's temple. Now there is also a code. The code is that if by chance some animal enters the main precinct of the temple, then if that animal enters, and then what happens is immediately everything else would be stopped. So there would be no further puja, there would be no further offering, there would be no further arti, unless and until the temple is cleansed. Now till this point it is fine. I mean, in all temples this kind of hygiene, these very high levels of hygiene are followed. But how the temple is cleansed? The temple is cleansed from a particular river, particular water body that is about 40 kilometers away from Jagannath Puri. So if something happens like a cat entered a temple, then they would have to go to that particular water body which is 40 kilometers away. They have to bring the water from there, and then they would be washing the entire temple, and once the temple is washed, only afterwards all the daily offerings or worships would resume. Now it so happened that once there was no water in that water body, and because there is no water in the water body, they have no water to take back. So what happened was that the pujaris were determined that they would take the water and only then they would return. So they camped. The pujaris camped near the water body for a few days, and by Lord's mercy, rain occurred, and they were able to collect some water, and they went back to wash the temple. And all these various happenings of whatever happened in the temple, how Lord reciprocated with his devotees, these are mentioned on. I mean, these are written on palm leaves, and they are stored. So this is also another unique thing. So whatever happened, because Lord Jagannath is so much reciprocative, he is reciprocal. So the pujaris there make these diary entries of what Jagannath have done, what happened in the temple. Oh, if nothing had happened, they would also mention that nothing has happened in the temple. So in this way, they mention they maintain these journal records, and they store these records as well. So that is why we can hear about very old happenings, occurrences which happened in the temple. The another special thing which I was going to mention is that there are various services. As you can understand, this is a very big temple, so there are various kind of services which are there to be performed. So for example, and these services are also divided amongst the people of or because this whole city, the majority of this city of Puri is a devotee. I mean, the people of Puri are generally devotee of Lord Jagannath, and they have been given these services. And these services, I mean, even small services, they have been divided amongst the people or the families of Puri. So, for example, someone has a service of cutting the vegetables, and their family, generation after generation, are doing that same service for Lord Jagannath. Then there would be another family who is given the task to blow the conch shell once the food is ready and prepared and is ready to be taken for the offering. So their duty is only to blow the conch shell once every bhoga is prepared in the kitchen and is ready to be taken. So that is the only service they have, and generation after generation they are doing this service. Then one other family would be given the task of making the ropes. So in this way, all these service have been divided amongst the people of Puri, and for this very, I mean, on an outer level it seems a very small service, but for whatever service they are performing for Lord Jagannath, they are given prasadam. They are given free prasadam daily. So imagine the mercy. I mean, for this small service one is performing, their whole family is given prasadam, and for generation after generation this is happening. So this is also a unique thing about Lord Jagannath's temple. There are many things to be covered, so I would move on to the another topic. But these are few of the very special things about Lord Jagannath's temple and the observances within the temple. Now, an important thing is this chakra of Lord Jagannath's temple. It's very important because if you take the darshan of this chakra, that is equivalent to taking darshan of Lord Jagannath. So in these days, when people are under this lockdown and they are not able to go to Puri, or they have some or the other reasons because of which they are not able to visit Lord Jagannath. So if you take darshan of this chakra, then that is equivalent to taking darshana of Lord Jagannath, who is sitting within the temple. So please take darshana of this chakra and pay your obeisances. So Jai Shri Chakra. So after we take darshan of the temple, I mean main temple where Lord Jagannath resides, you can see also there are many small temples which are present in the complex. So you can see here temples that are here so all around you can see the temples. Okay, so these temples again, how these temples are there. So behind each of these temples there is one or the other pastime related to Lord Jagannath. I would narrate few of them. So one of the most important temple within the complex is of Mother Vimala Devi or Mother Durga Devi. So how the temple came there? So it is said that once Narad Muni in the when in the Goloka he received in the Vaikuntha he received prasadam, the Mahaprasadam of Lord Vishnu from Mother Lakshmi. And after taking that Mahaprasadam, because this is the Mahaprasadam, he was so much elated, he was so much happy, he was chanting the names of Lord Narayana, Narayana, and he was dancing throughout the universe. And with this ecstasy, he entered Kailasha, or the abode of Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva was also very astonished why Narad Muni is so happy today. So Lord Shivji asked Narada Muni as to why you are so much chanting and dancing and with so much joy. So Narad Muni said that I had the supreme mercy of receiving the Mahaprasadam, and hence I am feeling this so much of joy within myself. So Shivji said that you are my brother, O Narada, and you took the Mahaprasadam all by yourself. You never thought about me, your brother. We chant together, we dance together, and you forgot me. How this is possible? Then Narada Muni said that because the Mahaprasadam I had taken all by my own. That is true, but on my hand there is a little bit of Mahaprasadam still stuck. So please accept this Mahaprasadam. So Shivji immediately took that Mahaprasadam, which was there was a small morsel of grain which was stuck on Narad Muni's palm, and immediately Lord Shivji also felt so much ecstasy, and he was doing the Tandava Nritya, with the Nritya which he generally performs during the annihilation of the universe. He was doing at that very moment, because he was so much feeling ecstasy by taking that Mahaprasadam. And when Mother Parvati came there and witnessed that both Narada and Shivji are so much happy, they are chanting, they are dancing here and there, then Mother Parvati was also astonished and asked her husband that, "Oh my dear Lord Shivji, why you are so much happy and why you are dancing like this? This is not the end of universe. So please stop and tell me the reason why you are so much happy today." So Shivji said, he narrated the whole story, and said that how he also got a bit of Mahaprasadam. Then Mother Parvati became very angry. She was very much upset as to why Shivji also got Mahaprasadam and herself she was bereft of that mercy. Then to pacify Mother Parvati, Lord Vishnu came there immediately and said that, oh my dear Mother Parvati, you would also get Mahaprasadam. You don't worry, you don't get disheartened. Then Mother Parvati said that, oh my dear Lord, I am the mother of this universe, and I only cannot get this Mahaprasadam. I want this Mahaprasadam to be available to all the souls, to all my sons and daughters. So please make that arrangement. So Lord Jagannath or Lord Krishna, Lord Vishnu said that, oh, that would be followed, and when I manifest in the form of Lord Jagannath, you would also be there in the form of Mother Vimala, and whatever offerings are made to me would then be offered to you, and it would become Mahaprasadam. And then that Mahaprasadam would be available to all the people in general. And that is also a custom followed even till date, that whatever bhoga is offered to Lord Jagannath in this Puri temple, then it is taken to Mother Vimala Devi's temple, which is to the left, and then from there it becomes Mahaprasadam, and and that Mahaprasadam is made available for the devotees in general. So this is about how Mother Vimala Devi's temple is there. Then the another important temple is of Ganesh. Now, why Ganeshi's temple came to be there? Now, it so happened that a few hundreds of years ago there was a king by the name of Purushottam Dev, and it was planned that Raja Purushottam's marriage would take place with the princess of Kanchipuram, the Kanchi, and it was more or less formalized. This marriage was more or less formalized. So few representatives from the kingdom of Kanchi came to Utkala to be guests of Raja Purushottam Dev, and Raja Purushottam Dev was hosting those guests, and that was a time of Rath Yatra. And the Rath Yatra, during before the Rath Yatra starts, there is a custom that the king would sweep the path on which the Ratha would be pulled. So this is to denote that the king of Utkala is actually a servant of the king of the entire universe, or the Lord Jagannath. So because the kings were also very devoted to Lord Jagannath, and to pay their respects, to show their humility in front of Lord Jagannath, they would sweep before the Rath Yatra can be started. So King Purushottama Dev was just sweeping the path, and because the guests from Kanchipuram witnessed this, they felt very much uncomfortable that the king is acting like a sweeper. So they immediately left for Kanchi and narrated all of this to the king of Kanchi, and the king of Kanchi immediately revoked the to-be marriage that was going to happen on the grounds that the king is not suitable. So because Purushottama Dev was not concerned about his own pride, but because Lord Jagannath's service was being looked down upon at a very low position, because serving Lord Jagannath for a devotee is a very exalted position, but the king of Kanchi was looking at it at a very taking it to be a very menial thing. So that's why he was King Purushottam Dev wanted to set the correct standard for Lord Jagannath, and wanted to establish how superior is the service of Lord Jagannath. And so, because Kshatriyas have a principle that if something is not resolved, then they would wage a war, and thus they waged a war. And it so happened that in the first round, Purushottama Dev was sent back, or his forces were not able to gain a substantial victory over King of Kanchi. Now, one of the conditions before the battle was that if King Purushottama Dev loses, then Lord Jagannath would have to sit behind Ganeshji's temple in Kanchi. And if King of Kanchi loses, then Ganeshji would sit in the temple complex behind Lord Jagannath. Now, because the pride and prestige of Lord Jagannath was at stake, King Purushottama Dev eagerly prayed to Lord Jagannath that I might lose and I don't have any problem with that, but my only concern is that your position as the Lord of the universe would is getting challenged by the King of Kanchi. So please help me. So, hearing to the prayers of King Purushottama Dev, Lord Jagannath and Lord Baldev, they themselves rode to the battlefield, and even before the rest of the army of King Purushottama Dev could appear at the battlefield, they themselves went ahead. And it so happened that on the path leading to the battlefield, they had stopped at a place, and they had taken the buttermilk, the whatever buttermilk was being sold at that place. They took all the buttermilk, they drank all the buttermilk, and when they were asked for money, they said that we don't have any money because we are soldiers. So Lord Jagannath and Baldev said, because they were acting as the soldiers of King Purushottama, so they said to the buttermilk seller that we don't have any money, so you just take this gem. Or so they gave a ring from their fingers. Lord Jagannath gave it to that woman who was selling the buttermilk, and Lord Jagannath said that the king is following us, so when king comes, you show this ring to the king, and the king will give you the equivalent money for all the buttermilk. And by saying this, they left for the battlefield, and at the battlefield, only those two brothers, Lord Jagannath and Lord Baldev, they defeated the entire army of King of Kanchi. And when the king reached that buttermilk seller, that point where the buttermilk seller woman was still waiting for the king to come, so she handed over that particular ring to the king, and king immediately realized that this is the ring of Lord Jagannath, and he was so much ecstatic that his prayers had been answered. His already Lord Jagannath and Lord Baldev had rode to the battle, and thus he was so happy that not only he gave a lot of jewels to that lady who was selling, he said that whatever land all around you can see, I give it to you. So even these days, even today, that particular place is called Manikapatnam, because that lady whose name was Manika, so all that land was given to that lady, so that became Manikapatnam. And also, on the other hand, Lord Jagannath and Baldev defeated the king of Kanchi, and thus Ganeshji was brought to the Jagannath temple and was established there. Now, one shouldn't think that Lord Ganeshji's position is being shown inferior to that of Lord Jagannath, because Lord Ganesha is also a great devotee of Lord Jagannath. So this is also seen as a pastime that through this pastime, Lord Jagannath has brought his dear devotee Ganesha very close to him. Okay, so this is the way this pastime is also can be looked at. So this is how Ganeshji's temple, or Kanchi Ganesha's temple, gets established here. Also, there is a temple. There are two temples of Hanumanji also here. Two deities of Hanumanji are also there. So one of the deity is actually called Kan Foda Hanuman. So why is he called Kan Foda Hanuman? It's because the pujaris of Lord Jagannath complained that there is a lot of noise coming because of the ocean waves, because the seashore is hardly 2-3 kilometers from this temple. So because of all these noise of the ocean waves, we are not able to hear the narrations or the recitals which we do, whatever prayers we chant, we are not able to hear that. So please, Lord Jagannath, please do something about it. So then Lord Jagannath said that okay, I would request my devotee Hanuman to come here, and my devotee Hanuman would do something about that. So the next day, when the pujaris were leaving the temple after their duties, then they saw there is a gigantic figure who is up and down, is walking on the gate, going from left to right. So then the pujaris were astonished and asked, "Who are you?" So Hanuman, they were astonished because there was a gigantic figure who was like guarding the gate. Then Hanumanji introduced himself, and the pujari said that okay, so we had requested Lord so that we are relieved of these noise which is coming from the ocean waves. So please, if you can do something. So Hanumanji heard their request, and then they said that, and it said that from that day onwards, the waves of ocean are no longer heard within the temple. So why he is named Kanfoda Hanuman? It's because he has absorbed all the noise which was coming from the ocean waves, and that has taken out his hearing ability. So that's why it says Kanfoda Hanuman. So it's like it's a funny pastime with Hanumanji and Lord Jagannath and his pujaris. So there is a deity of Kanfoda Hanuman. Then there is another Leela related to Lord Hanumanji, is that it is said that, and also recorded, that the water from the ocean used to flood the main temple on every full moon day. So again, pujaris requested that you please do something about it, my dear Lord, because we are getting troubled because of the ocean water entering on every full moon day. So the Lord said that, oh my dear devotees, my father-in-law is the deity of ocean, so I cannot do personally anything about it. So you again please take shelter of Hanumanji. So Hanumanji, and then again the pujaris requested Hanumanji, and Hanumanji said that okay, I will take care of it. So for many days the water didn't enter, the ocean water didn't enter the temple precinct. But again, suddenly one day again in the temple the ocean water entered. So the pujaris were astonished as to how things were all fine, but then again the ocean water entered. So then they worshipped Hanumanji and said that how this happened, that suddenly the water of ocean entered. So Hanumanji said that because the prasadam in Jagannath is not so spicy, so I had went to Ayodhya to take prasadam there, because in Ayodhya it is so spicy, it is made with spices, and it is also it's a custom that in Jagannath temple the spices are not used. So anyway, Hanumanji was also narrating that the prasadam which is there in Ayodhya, I went to take that prasadam in Ayodhya. So Lord Jagannath's pujari said that now it is a problem that if now and then if Hanumanji goes to Ayodhya, then we would again fall into trouble. So what they said that they had they somehow so there are two versions of this story. One version says that Lord Jagannath had bind Hanumanji to protect the devotees. The other version is that the temple pujaris had bound Hanumanji by their devotion. So in this way, because he is bound, so it is called Bedi Hanuman. So Hanumanji has been bound to Lord Jagannath to protect his devotees. So Bedi Hanumanji is also there, if in this in the temple complex. He resides there. He is worshipped there. Now Lord Jagannath says that, okay, now you have stopped my father-in-law to come to the temple, because his Lord Vishnu's his consort is Mother Lakshmi, who appeared from the ocean. So that's how the presiding deity of ocean is his father-in-law. So now Lord Jagannath is complaining to Pujaris that you have stopped my father-in-law from coming to the temple with the help of Hanumanji, but how my father-in-law would be able to meet me? So from that time onwards, it's a custom that Lord Jagannath is taken to the ocean. I mean, he's taken to the seashore, and there then there is a form of, I mean, that facilitates the meeting of Lord Jagannath and his father-in-law, or the presiding deity of ocean, and they do they do make offerings to Lord Jagannath at that site at the seashore, and there is these ceremonies and rituals happen on the seashore. So this is also how Hanumanji also comes to reside in the temple, and also there is this wonderful pastime that every 15 days or so, Lord Jagannath is taken to the seashore, and a kind of it's called Van Bhoja, picnic, also happens. So this is also one of the other pastimes of Lord Jagannath, and how Hanumanji comes and resides in the Jagannath Puri complex. So this is a view of the Vimala Devi's temple. It's a very old picture of Vimala Devi's temple. Now, I had actually planned to narrate a few more pastimes of Lord Jagannath, and these pastimes are related with Lord Jagannath's devotees. So I would stop here, but I would continue next week, and so that we can relish these very wonderful pastimes of Lord Jagannath and his devotees. So I hope you found it very, very wonderful to hear about all these pastimes, and I wish that you remember these pastimes, and because on the Monday 12th it's the Rath Yatra, and then for 7 days Lord Jagannath would stay in the Gundicha temple, so you can remember about these pastimes, and again on next week we would hear about the wonderful pastimes of Lord Jagannath and his devotees. So with that, I would close today's session. Hare Krishna.